We have no choice tonight. Madeline Pierce's breath caught as those 5 words left Jack Rowan's mouth. The lodge innkeeper had just closed the last available room door. 1 room, 1 bed. Her hands trembled on the wheelchair armrests. This stranger had pulled her from a wrecked SUV 20 minutes ago, and now they'd share a bed. Her billion-dollar empire, her carefully controlled image, none of it mattered here. Jack's dark eyes met hers without pity, without fear. Just certainty. "Unless you want to freeze in my truck," he said quietly. Her pulse hammered. Something about his voice made her feel exposed in ways the accident never had. Before we go further, hit subscribe right now and stay until the very end. Comment your city below so I can see how far Madeline's story reaches. Trust me, what happens at midnight will change everything you think you know about strength. 68 million reasons to sign Madeline. You have 5 seconds. David Cross's voice slithered across the boardroom table like oil on water. Madeline Pierce stared at the merger contract, her fingers white-knuckled on the armrests of her wheelchair. 12 board members watched, waiting, judging. No. The word dropped like a stone into silence. David's smile spread slow. Dangerous. "I'm sorry, what?" "I said no." Madeline's voice didn't shake. Never shake. "This merger would expose Pierce Industries to environmental lawsuits that would cost us triple that amount in 3 years. I won't sign. The environmental concerns are speculative. They're documented. I've seen the reports your team tried to bury." Marcus Chen, her CFO, went pale. David's smile widened. "Interesting, David leaned back, fingers steepled. "You're rejecting $68 million based on speculation. Some might say that's emotional decision-making, Madeline. Some might say you're not thinking clearly anymore." The wheelchair comment. He didn't say it, but everyone heard it. Madeline's pulse roared in her ears. She wanted to throw the contract at his face, wanted to scream that she'd built this company back from the edge of bankruptcy while he'd been playing golf in the Hamptons. Instead, she placed both palms flat on the table. Meeting adjourned. She spun her wheelchair toward the exit. "Emergency session tomorrow 9 a.m., David called after her. "We'll vote on this with or without you." Madeline didn't turn around, didn't give him the satisfaction.
What's the item?
The elevator ride down 41 floors felt like drowning in slow motion. Her phone exploded with text before she reached the lobby. "Marcus." "What just happened, Marcus?" "David's already making calls." "Marcus." "Madeline, answer me." She silenced it, shoved through the lobby doors where Thomas waited beside the SUV, engine running. "Ms. Pierce, drive." The weather report said, "I don't care about the weather report, Thomas. Get me out of New York now." Thomas knew better than to argue when her voice went cold like that. He opened the door, helped her transfer from wheelchair to back seat, smooth practice the choreography they'd perfected over 5 years. The wheelchair folded, stowed, door closed. They pulled into traffic, and Madeline finally let herself breathe. Mistake, weakness, loss of control. David's words echoed emotional decision-making. Was he right? Had she let anger override logic? No. She'd seen those environmental reports. Soil contamination, water table, poison cancer clusters near the merger partners' facilities. Signing that contract would have made Pierce Industries complicit in poisoning communities for profit. But nobody else had seen those reports. She'd found them through a contact David didn't know she had, which meant in that boardroom she'd looked unstable, paranoid, emotional. Her phone rang. Her mother. Madeline sent it to voicemail. "Ms. Pierce, the roads are getting bad." Thomas's eyes found hers in the rearview mirror. "Maybe we should stop. Wait out the storm. Keep going. It's getting dark." I said keep going. She needed distance, needed mountains and silence and space to think. The Vermont Lodge was 3 hours away in good weather. They'd make it. They had to make it. Snow started falling harder. Big wet flakes that stuck to the windshield. Thomas turned the wipers up, but they just smeared the mess around. "Ms. Pierce, don't." The SUV climbed into the mountains. Darkness swallowed them. The storm pressed closer, tighter, until Madeline couldn't see anything beyond the red glow of taillights ahead. Wait, no. Those lights were gone now. Just white. Endless white. Thomas's knuckles went bone pale on the steering wheel. "Thomas, what?" The SUV lurched. Sideways. Wrong. Black ice. Time fractured into horrible slow-motion clarity. Thomas yanking the wheel, the SUV spinning, Madeline's wheelchair jerking against its locks, her body slamming against the restraints, the world outside becoming a nauseating blur of white, black, white, black. Then impact, metal screaming, glass cracking, the SUV tilting nose down into something that felt like a ditch, like gravity giving up, like every nightmare about losing control made physical and real. Silence, heavy, muffled, wrong. Thomas, nothing. Thomas, a groan, weak, his head pressed against the driver's window, blood trailing dark down his temple. The windshield had spiderwebbed across his side. Outside, snow fell so thick it looked like they were underwater. Madeline grabbed her phone. No signal, of course no signal. They were somewhere between nowhere and nothing, and the temperature was already dropping. She could feel it seeping through the window glass, that particular cold that meant trouble, meant danger, meant time was running out. Thomas, Thomas, look at me. Another groan. His hand moved toward the door handle, fumbled, fell. Training kicked in. The emergency protocols she'd insisted every Pierce Industries employee learn, the ones she'd practiced herself, even though she'd sworn she'd never need them. Assess. The SUV was nose down in what looked like a roadside ditch. Engine dead, headlights fading. Thomas injured, possibly concussed, possibly worse. She was locked in the back seat with no way to reach him and no way to get help. Not locked. Don't use that word. Limited access. Same difference when you're trapped. She tried the door handle, child safety lock, engaged. Of course. Safety feature now turned prison. Madeline pounded on the window. Stupid, useless, but her hands needed something to do besides shake. Hey, Thomas's voice thick and slurred. You, okay. I'm fine, don't move, you might have, head hurts. I know, stay still. How long had they been here? 2 minutes 10. The cold was moving fast, turning metal into ice, turning breath into fog, turning fear into something sharp and animal in her chest. Thomas tried the radio. Static. Tried again. A voice broke through, faint, talking about road closures and stranded motorists and temperatures dropping to dangerous levels. The radio died. Madeline sat back, mind racing through impossible options. Stay with the vehicle, that was the rule. Don't walk in a blizzard. Wait for rescue. But who was coming? She told Marcus she'd be back tomorrow. Thomas's family wasn't expecting him. The lodge wouldn't send anyone out in this weather just because guests didn't show. They could be here all night. Thomas's breathing changed. Shallow, rapid. His head lolled forward. That was bad. That was very bad. Madeline tried her phone again, holding it up near the window, praying. Nothing. She was about to scream when she saw movement through the snow. A shape. Dark. Human. Coming toward them. Her breath caught. Help or danger. Out here in this storm. What kind of person? The shape became a man. Broad-shouldered, moving with purpose through snow that should have stopped anyone. He wore a heavy jacket and work boots, face hidden behind a scarf, but his eyes dark-focused, locked on the SUV. Held no hesitation. He reached Thomas's door first. Tried it, jammed, moved around the vehicle, assessing. Quick, efficient. Then he came to Madeline's window. Their eyes met through frosted glass. She expected pity. Expected that look everyone gave when they saw the wheelchair. Expected him to hesitate, to wonder how to handle this delicate, broken thing. Instead, he just looked at her like she was a person who needed help. Nothing more, nothing less. He pulled down his scarf. Can you unlock this door? It's child-locked from outside. He nodded once and moved back to Thomas's side, braced his shoulder, pushed. Metal groaned. He pushed again harder, and the door gave with a sharp crack. Arctic air flooded in. The man leaned into the front seat, fingers gentle on Thomas's neck, checking his pulse with practiced ease. Breathing's good, pulse strong, head wound probable concussion. I need to get him out, then I'll come back for you. I know you can. Let me get him first. Something in his tone, not dismissive, not pitying. Just practical, stopped her protest. She watched him work, pulling Thomas's arm over his shoulder, supporting his weight, speaking in a low, steady voice that somehow cut through Thomas's confusion. It took minutes that felt like hours to get Thomas out and settled away from the SUV. Then the man came back. I'm going to unlock your chair, then get you out. Tell me if anything feels wrong. Nothing feels wrong. Nothing feels anything. The words came out sharp, defensive, but the man just nodded. His hands moved to the wheelchair locks, releasing them with the confidence of someone who'd done this before. I'm Jack, he said. Jack Rowan. I run a garage about a mile from here. Saw your headlights from the road, figured someone was in trouble. Madeline Pierce. I know, recognized the Pierce Industries logo. His mouth quirked slightly. You're a long way from Manhattan. Board meeting in Burlington. Hell of a commute. Despite everything, the cold, the fear, Hamas bleeding in the snow, Madeline felt her mouth twitch toward a smile. Jack slid one arm under her knees, the other around her back. Ready? No. Yes. He lifted her like she weighed nothing, like the wheelchair didn't define her, like her body's limitations weren't the first thing he saw when he looked at her. For 3 seconds, Madeline Pierce wasn't in control, wasn't the CEO, wasn't the woman who'd rebuilt an empire from inheritance and fury. She was just someone being carried through a storm by a stranger who smelled like motor oil in winter and competence. Jack set her down against a tree trunk, then retrieved the wheelchair. He positioned it beside her without ceremony, without asking if she needed help transferring. Your driver needs medical attention, and we both need to get warm. My truck's up on the road. I can carry you, or we can try to navigate the snow with the chair. Your call. Every instinct screamed to say she could do it herself, but the snow was thigh-deep and her hands were already shaking. I'll need help. Okay. He lifted her again. This time he held her against his chest as he waded through snow that would have stopped the wheelchair dead. Behind them, he dragged the chair one-handed. Thomas was on his feet now, dazed but conscious. Jack got him moving, supporting most of his weight, and the three of them made their way up the embankment. An old pickup truck sat idling exhaust white against the storm. Jack settled Madeline in the passenger seat, warm cluttered with coffee cups and tools and a child's drawing taped to the dashboard, then got Thomas in back. Nearest hospitals, 40 minutes in good weather, Jack said, starting to drive. In this, 2 hours, maybe more. But there's a lodge 3 miles from here. Heat phones food. We call for help from there. What about Thomas? We'll clean the wound, monitor him. If he shows serious concussion symptoms, we risk the hospital drive. But right now, warmth is priority one. Madeline studied Jack's profile, strong jaw, focused eyes, hands steady on the wheel. You do this often, rescue people. More often than you'd think. People underestimate these mountains. He glanced at her. You hurt anywhere? I'm fine now. That's not an answer. The truck hit a pothole. Madeline grabbed the door handle on instinct. Jack's hand moved to steady her, then pulled back. Sorry, reflex. It's fine. But something had shifted in the small space between them. An awareness, not attraction too complicated for that, but recognition. Two people who'd learned to be careful in different ways. The lodge emerged through the snow like salvation. Warm lights, smoke from the chimney. Jack pulled up to the entrance. Wait here, I'll check rooms. He was back in 90 seconds. His expression said everything. They've got one room left. Madeline's heart kicked against her ribs. One. Yeah. Any other lodges nearby? 15 miles. We'd never make it. Jack met her eyes. I know this isn't ideal. We'll make it work. But her pulse was hammering. One room, one bed, with a stranger who just saved her life and was now looking at her like she was a person, not a problem, and she had no idea how to process any of this. Jack got Thomas inside first. The innkeeper, a woman with silver hair and capable hands, took one look at Thomas and disappeared, returning with a first aid kit that could have stocked a small ER. Then Jack came back for Madeline. I can wheel myself. Floor's wet. Chair will slip. He was right. She hated that he was right. Jack carried her through the lobby. Other guests stared. Madeline felt their eyes tracking her expensive coat, her wheelchair, this strange man carrying her like a bride, and wanted to disappear. The room was tiny, one queen bed, a bathroom barely big enough to turn around in, a window showing nothing but storm. Jack set her in the wheelchair and stepped back, running a hand through his snow-dampened hair. I'll take the floor. You'll freeze. We're both adults. We can share a bed without making it weird. Ms. Pierce, Madeline, son, and I mean it. You saved my life. The least I can do is not make you sleep on cold hardwood. Something flickered in his eyes, almost a smile. Okay, Madeline. The way he said her name, just a name, not a dynasty, not a brand, made her chest feel strange. Jack left to check on Thomas. Madeline sat alone staring at the bed, trying to remember the last time she'd shared space with anyone. After the accident, she'd made sure she always had her own room. Control, distance, safety. Now she was stuck with a stranger, and nothing about this felt safe. Her phone buzzed. 1 bar of signal. Marcus. Where are you? David, emergency meeting 9 a.m. tomorrow. Be there or we vote without you. Her mother, call me. Now. Madeline turned the phone off. When Jack returned, he had soup. 2 bowls, steam rising, the smell of salt and comfort. Kitchen was closing, but the cook took pity. He handed her a bowl. Thomas is stable, mild concussion, but he'll be fine. The innkeeper's watching him. Thank you. They ate in silence, not awkward, just quiet. Outside the storm howled, inside the heater rattled. Jack finished first. I should call my daughter. Madeline's spoon paused halfway to her mouth. You have a daughter? Lily, she's 8. He pulled out his phone and his whole face changed, softened. She's with my sister tonight, but she worries. Madeline watched him dial, watched him transform. Hey, sweetheart. Yeah, I'm okay. Storm's bad, so I'm staying at a lodge. No, I promise I'm fine. I know, but you'll get pancakes for breakfast. I love you too. Be good for Aunt Sarah. He hung up. The softness lingered. How long? Madeline asked quietly. How long have you been on your own? Jack looked at her, surprised by the directness. Then 3 years. My wife had cancer. I'm sorry. Yeah, me too. He stood, stretched, walked to the window. What about you, family? No, just the company. That's lonely. It's necessary. Jack turned. Is it what you want? Nobody had asked her that in years, maybe ever. Before she could answer, the heater coughed, sputtered, died. The lights flickered once, twice went out. Complete darkness. Madeline's breath caught. She hated the dark. Hated not seeing, not orienting, not knowing, hey. Jack's voice close. You're okay. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. A match flared, then another. Jack was lighting candles, warm light pushing back the dark. Better. Madeline's hands unclenched from the armrests. Better. Jack sat on the bed's edge, candlelight playing across his features. So, stuck in a mountain lodge with a stranger during a blizzard. Not your usual Tuesday. Not exactly. Could be worse. I could be boring. Despite everything, Madeline laughed. Are you... Desperately, I fix cars, raise my kids, sleep by 9. My idea of excitement is finding a good deal on brake pads. Sounds peaceful. It is. Jack studied her. What's your life like when you're not walking out of board meetings? So he'd been listening. Busy, stressful, necessary. Lonely. The word landed like a punch. What makes you think that? I know what lonely looks like. I saw it on your face when I called my daughter. Madeline wanted to be angry, wanted to rebuild her walls, shut this down. But she was tired, so tired. Yes, she whispered, it's lonely. Why? Because I don't know how to be anything else anymore. The truth spilled out. The accident changed everything. Who I was, who people see. I rebuilt Pierce Industries because I could control that. But somewhere along the way, the company became all I had, and now I'm trapped in it. Jack didn't rush to respond, just listened with his whole attention. My wife used to say something he finally then. After she got sick, she said, you don't rebuild life by pretending nothing broke. You start with what's still true. What's still true for me. That's what you have to figure out. The candles flickered. The storm screamed, and something in Madeline's chest cracked open. Not breaking. Opening. I don't know where to start, she admitted. Jack's eyes met hers across the candlelight. Maybe you start by asking what you'd do if you weren't afraid. I'm not afraid. Everyone's afraid of something, Madeline. Her phone buzzed. David's name glowing in the darkness, demanding she return. Madeline looked at the phone, at Jack, back at the phone. Then she turned it off. There, she said. That's a start. Jack smiled, real and warm. That's a damn good start. They talked for another hour, about Lily's dream of becoming a veterinarian, about Thomas's uncanny ability to predict her moods, About the company, the merger, David's calculated cruelty. About Jack's shop, the mountains, what life looked like when you slowed down enough to see it. Eventually, exhaustion caught them. Jack helped her transfer from wheelchair to bed, efficient, respectful, no pity, and they lay in the darkness with careful space between them. Jack. Yeah, thank you. Don't thank me for being decent. But she had to, because decency had become rare, because he treated her like a whole person, because for the first time in 3 years, she didn't feel alone. The candles burned low, the storm raged, and Madeline Pierce fell asleep next to a stranger and didn't have nightmares. Gray dawn broke cold and clean. The storm had passed. Jack stood by the window phone to his ear. Yeah, he'll be fine. Roads should clear by noon, thanks. He hung up, saw Madeline awake. Morning, Thomas is good. Doctor cleared him and the roads are passable now. Back to New York. Back to David. Back to the fight. Madeline pulled herself up. Jack brought the wheelchair without being asked. I have to go back, she said. I know. David's calling an emergency meeting. He's going to try to force me out. You going to let him? No. Jack handed her coffee. What's your plan? Fight, the way I always have. Alone? I don't need help. Didn't say you needed it, asked if you were doing it alone. Madeline met his eyes, saw the challenge. I don't know how to ask for help, she admitted. Then maybe that's the next thing you learn. Jack grabbed his jacket. Come on, I'll drive you. You don't have to. I want to. The drive back was quiet, thoughtful. Madeline watched mountains slide past, white and beautiful and indifferent. When they reached the parking lot, a replacement SUV waited. Thomas stood beside it, bandaged but steady. Miss Pierce, thank God you're okay. How are you, Thomas? Headache from hell, but I'll live, thanks to Mr. Rowan. Madeline turned to Jack, everything unsaid pressed between them. I don't know how to repay you. Don't repay kindness. Pass it forward. That's it. Jack smiled, pulled out his phone, typed, handed it to her. If you ever need someone to remind you what's still true. His contact, Jack Rowan, mechanic. Thank you, Madeline said. Meant it more than anything in years. She watched him drive away his old truck, disappearing down the mountain. Then she got in the SUV, Thomas at the wheel, and headed back to New York, back to the fight. But something had changed. The armor was still there she'd needed, but it didn't feel quite as heavy anymore. Her phone powered on, messages flooded in, and Madeline Pierce smiled. The elevator doors opened on the 41st floor at 8:43 a.m. Madeline rolled into the corridor, Thomas one step behind, and every head in the outer office turned. Silence dropped like a guillotine. Jennifer from accounting froze mid-step. Brad from legal pretended to study his phone. Sarah, her assistant for 6 years, stood from her desk, face pale. Ms. Pierce, I didn't think you'd... Is the boardroom ready? Yes, but David's already inside with... I know. Madeline rolled past her. Coffee, black, 2 sugars. Right away. The boardroom doors were closed. Through the frosted glass, Madeline could see shapes moving. Counting heads. 8, maybe 9. David had rallied his allies early. Thomas positioned himself beside the door. Want me to come in? No, wait here. If I'm not out in an hour, call Marcus directly. Ms. Pierce, I'll be fine, Thomas. She didn't feel fine. Her hands were shaking. She pressed them flat against her thighs, breathed in through her nose, out through her mouth. Control. She'd built an empire on control. Jack's voice echoed in her head. You start with what's still true. What was still true, that she'd been right about the merger. That David was playing dirty. That if she walked away now, everything she'd built would crumble. Madeline pushed the doors open. 12 faces turned toward her. David sat at the head of the table, her seat the one she'd occupied for 7 years, leaning back with that same satisfied smile from yesterday. Madeline, so glad you could join us. His tone dripped false concern. We were worried after you left so abruptly yesterday. Are you feeling better? Every word was a trap, every syllable designed to paint her as unstable, emotional, weak. I'm feeling fine, David. Now get out of my chair. The room went silent. David's smile widened. Actually, that's what we're here to discuss. Your chair, your position, your decision-making capacity. He gestured to the other board members. We've had some concerns raised about your leadership lately. Concerns. Madeline rolled closer, positioning herself at the opposite end of the table. Be specific. The merger rejection yesterday was reckless, emotional. You cost this company $68 million based on speculation, based on documented evidence that your merger partners have been poisoning groundwater in 3 states. Evidence you deliberately hid from this board. David's smile never faltered. Evidence you claim to have but haven't shared with anyone here. Evidence that conveniently only you have seen. He turned to the others. Yesterday, Madeline walked out of a meeting without explanation. She's been increasingly isolated, making unilateral decisions, refusing counsel. Some of us are questioning whether she's still fit to lead Pierce Industries. Marcus spoke up, voice tight. David, that's not fair. It's a legitimate concern, Marcus. We all saw what happened yesterday. We've all noticed the changes. David's eyes found Madeline's. Mrs. The accident changed things. No one's denying that. But maybe it's time to consider whether Madeline needs to step back for her own good. There it was, the wheelchair comment dressed up as concern, the knife wrapped in sympathy. Madeline felt rage burn through her chest, hot and clean. But Jack's voice cut through it again. You don't rebuild life by pretending nothing broke. She took a breath, let the anger settle, then spoke. You're right, David. The room went still. David's smile faltered for the first time. The accident did change things, Madeline continued. It changed how I move, how I navigate, how people see me. She looked around the table, meeting each board member's eyes. But it didn't change my ability to run this company. It didn't change my ability to see through corporate manipulation. And it sure as hell didn't change my ability to spot a snake when he's sitting in my chair. David's face hardened. Madeline. I have the environmental reports. 3 independent studies showing contaminated soil poisoned water tables, cancer clusters near every facility owned by Meridian Holdings, the company you wanted us to merge with. She pulled a folder from her bag, slid it across the table toward Marcus. Page 14. The lawsuit filed last month. Meridian's being sued for $40 million by a community in Ohio. Page 22. The EPA investigation opened 3 weeks ago. Page 37. The internal memo from Meridian's CEO acknowledging the contamination and choosing to hide it. Marcus opened the folder. His face went white. Where did you get this? He whispered. I have sources you don't know about, Marcus. Sources that don't report to David first. David stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. You can't just produce some folder and expect. The documents are verified, authenticated, legal will confirm it. Madeline kept her voice level. I didn't reject the merger out of emotion, David. I rejected it because signing that contract would have made Pierce Industries complicit in environmental poisoning. It would have exposed us to lawsuits that would have bankrupted this company within 2 years. She's lying. David's voice rose. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Paranoid behavior, manufacturing evidence. Call Meridian's CEO. Madeline pulled out her phone. Right now, ask him about the EPA investigation. Ask him about Ohio. Ask him why he tried to rush this merger through before the news broke publicly. David's jaw worked. I'm not calling anyone based on your... Then I will. Madeline dialed, put it on speaker. The room held its breath. 3 rings, 4. Madeline Pierce. The voice that answered was cold, clipped. I wasn't expecting to hear from you. Robert, tell my board about the EPA investigation. A pause, long enough to damn him. I don't know what you're talking about. The investigation into groundwater contamination at your Ohio facility, the one that started 3 weeks ago, the one you failed to disclose during merger negotiations. Another pause, longer. That's confidential. That's a yes, thank you, Robert. She hung up. The silence in the boardroom was absolute. Marcus looked like he might throw up. 3 other board members were staring at David with dawning understanding. David himself had gone very still, his smile completely gone. You knew. Marcus's voice shook. You knew about the investigation and you pushed the merger anyway. That's not... Why? Madeline leaned forward. Why push a merger that would have destroyed us? What were you getting out of it, David? I don't have to listen to these accusations. 10%. The voice came from the door. Everyone turned. Jack Rowan stood in the doorway, still wearing his work jacket, holding a manila envelope. Thomas was behind him, looking apologetic. "I'm sorry, Ms. Pierce," he said he had information. 10% of Meridian Holdings, Jack repeated, walking into the room like he owned it. That's what David Cross was getting. He's on their board of directors. Has been for 8 months. The merger wasn't about helping Pierce Industries. It was about saving Meridian from bankruptcy by absorbing their liabilities into a company big enough to survive the lawsuits. He dropped the envelope on the table in front of Marcus. Financial records, board appointment letters, email correspondence between David and Meridian's CEO discussing how to manage Madeline's concerns. Madeline stared at Jack. "How did you—" "My late wife worked in corporate law. I still have contacts." He met her eyes. "You said you didn't know how to ask for help. I figured I'd offer it anyway." David was backing toward the door. "This is absurd. You can't just—" "Sit down, David." Marcus's voice was steel. "We're not done here." For the next 20 minutes, the board tore through the evidence. Every page confirmed it. David had been working with Meridian for months, secretly steering Pierce Industries toward a merger that would have saved his other investment while destroying Madeline's company. By 9:30, David Cross had been removed from the board. By 9:45, his office was being cleared. By 10, Madeline was back in her chair at the head of the table, and the board was voting to create an independent ethics committee to review all future merger proposals. Marcus stayed behind after everyone else left. He looked exhausted. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I should have seen what David was doing. I should have trusted you. You're trusting me now. That's what matters. The merger rejection yesterday, I thought you were making a mistake. I thought grief or stress or—" He stopped. "I'm sorry. Don't apologize for caring about the company, Marcus. Just promise me you'll speak up next time before it gets to a board meeting." "I promise, Mom." He stood, then paused. "Who was that guy? The one who brought the evidence? Someone who reminds me what's still true." Marcus smiled slightly, confused but not pressing. "Okay, I'll have legal process all this and prepare statements for the press. We'll need to address why we rejected the merger before Meridian's problems go public." "Handle it." And Marcus, "Thank you." After he left, Madeline sat alone in the boardroom, staring at the folder Jack had brought. The evidence that had saved her company, the help she hadn't asked for but desperately needed. Her phone buzzed. "Jack, you okay?" She smiled. "Madeline, better than okay. How did you get all that information?" "Jack, long story. Can I tell you over dinner?" Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Dinner with Jack Rowan. The mechanic who'd pulled her from a ditch shared a room with her, somehow researched corporate fraud in 12 hours, and showed up at her board meeting with evidence that saved everything. "Madeline, yes." "Jack, pick you up at 7. "Madeline, I'll send a car." "Jack, I have a truck. It runs." Despite everything, she laughed. Madeline, 7. My office, the rest of the day blurred past. Statements to legal, calls to shareholders, damage control meetings. Sarah brought lunch she didn't eat. Thomas checked on her twice. Marcus sent updates every hour. By 6:30, the office had emptied. Madeline sat at her desk, staring at the skyline, and tried to process the last 24 hours. Yesterday, she'd been fighting alone. Today, she had allies. Yesterday, she'd felt trapped in her own company. Today, she'd reclaimed it. And tomorrow was dinner with a man who'd seen her at her worst and somehow decided she was worth helping. Her mother called at 6:45. "Madeline, finally, I've been trying to reach you for 2 days." "I know, Mom. I'm sorry. Things have been complicated, I know. I saw the press release about David Cross resigning." "What happened?" For once, Madeline told the truth. All of it, the merger, the crash, Jack, the evidence, the board meeting. Her mother listened without interrupting at first, and when Madeline finished, there was a long pause. "You let a stranger help you." "Yes." "You asked for help." "I didn't ask, he offered." "And you accepted. That's the same thing, darling." Her mother's voice softened. "I'm proud of you." Madeline's throat tightened. "Mom, I know the accident changed things between us. I know I've been overbearing, overprotective. I'm sorry, I didn't want to lose you twice." "You're not losing me." "I know, you're too stubborn for that." A pause. "Tell me about this man, the mechanic." There's nothing to tell. Madeline, you let him carry you out of a crashed car, share a room with you, and show up at your board meeting. There's something to tell. I don't know what it is yet. That's fair. Just be careful, but also be open. You deserve to be happy. I'll try. Good, now go. You have dinner plans. How did you, Mother's intuition. Call me tomorrow. She hung up before Madeline could argue. At 6:58, Sarah knocked on the office door. Miss Pierce, there's a gentleman here to see you. He says he's Jack. Send him in. Jack Rowan walked into her office in clean jeans, a button-down shirt, and the same work jacket from this morning. He looked around at the floor-to-ceiling windows. Modern art, the view that costs more than most people's houses, and grinned. Nice place. Very intimidating. That's the point. Am I supposed to be intimidated? Most people are. I've met you in a crashed SUV with blood on your face and snow in your hair. This doesn't scare me. Madeline felt something warm spread through her chest. Where are we going? You'll see. Jack held the door open. Trust me, it was a simple question. But trust wasn't simple for Madeline Pierce. Trust was vulnerability. Trust was giving someone else control. Trust was everything she'd sworn never to do again after the accident. But Jack had earned it. In a ditch in a lodge room in her boardroom. He'd earned it by treating her like a person, not a problem. Yes, she said, I trust you. They took his truck, Madeline insisted, and Thomas looked relieved to have the evening off. Jack had installed a portable ramp in the trauma bed, something he had clearly rigged together himself. It wasn't elegant, but it worked. Where's Lily tonight? Madeline asked as they drove through Manhattan traffic. Sleep over at my sister's. She's excited, hasn't stopped talking about it all day. Jack glanced at her. She asked about you. What did you tell her? That I helped someone who needed it, that sometimes the strongest people are the ones brave enough to accept help. Madeline's throat tightened. She sounds smart. Terrifyingly smart. Gets it from her mother. They drove in comfortable silence until Jack pulled up outside a small Italian restaurant in Brooklyn. No valet, no pretense, just red check tablecloths and the smell of garlic and the sound of laughter spilling onto the street. This okay? Jack asked. It's not fancy, but it's perfect. Inside, the owner greeted Jack by name, hugged him like family, and led them to a corner table without asking about the wheelchair. Just moved chairs aside, made space, acted like it was the most natural thing in the world. They ordered wine, pasta, too much bread, and for the first time in years, Madeline didn't check her phone during dinner. Tell me how you got David's financial records, she said after the first glass of wine loosened her tongue. The truth. Jack smiled. My wife's best friend works at a private investigation firm. I called in a favor. She pulled records, made calls, connected dots. Took her about 6 hours. That's illegal in about 7 different ways. Probably, you going to arrest me? No, I'm going to say thank you. Madeline met his eyes. Thank you, Jack. You saved my company. You saved your company. I just handed you ammunition. Why did you do it? You don't know me. You don't owe me anything. Jack was quiet for a moment, turning his wine glass. My wife spent the last year of her life fighting. Chemosurgeries, treatments that made her so sick she couldn't stand. But she never stopped fighting, and I watched people treat her differently because she was sick, like she was fragile, like she'd already lost. He looked up. Yesterday when I pulled you out of that SUV, I saw someone fighting, someone who refused to be treated like she'd already lost. And I thought that's someone worth helping. Madeline's eyes burned. Your wife would be proud of the man you became after losing her toe. I hope so. Some days I'm not sure. Jack's voice roughened. Some days I'm just trying to show my daughter that you can survive the worst thing that ever happened to you and still choose kindness. Is that what you're teaching her? I'm trying. He reached across the table, stopped just short of touching her hand. What about you? What are you teaching people? I don't know anymore. I used to think I was teaching them strength, resilience, how to rebuild after everything falls apart. Madeline looked down at Jack's hands so close to hers. But lately I think I've just been teaching them isolation. How to build walls so high nobody can hurt you. Is that what you want to teach? No. Then what? Madeline thought about the last 24 hours. About Jack carrying her through snow. About Marcus standing up in the board meeting. About her mother saying she was proud. About this dinner in a small Brooklyn restaurant where nobody cared about her company or her wheelchair or her carefully maintained armor. I want to teach them that asking for help isn't weakness, she said quietly. That letting people in doesn't make you vulnerable. That strength is knowing what still matters and fighting for it without losing yourself in the process. Jack's hand moved the final inch. His fingers brushed hers, warm, steady, real. That's a good lesson, he said. They stayed until the restaurant closed, talked about everything and nothing, Lily's school play, Thomas's terrible jokes, the mountains in winter, the way grief changed you but didn't have to define you, the difference between being alone and being lonely. When Jack drove her back to her building, it was past midnight. The city was quiet as New York ever got. Jack walked her to the door, pushed her wheelchair over the threshold, then stepped back. "Thank you for dinner," Madeline said. "Thank you for saying yes." "Jack," she hesitated, "would you want to do this again?" He smiled, that warm, genuine smile that made her feel like maybe she was allowed to be human after all. "I'd like that. A lot." "Good, because I'd like that too." Jack started to leave, then turned back. "Madeline, you're going to be okay. You know that, right? You're already okay." The words settled in her chest like a promise, like truth. "I'm starting to believe that," she said. After he left, Madeline sat in her apartment overlooking the city and called Marcus. "It's late," he answered, voice groggy. "Everything okay?" "Everything's fine. I just wanted to tell you I'm creating a new ethics committee. I want you to chair it." "Me, Madeline, I don't think. You questioned me when you thought I was wrong. You supported me when you realized I was right. That's exactly what I need leading ethics reviews." She paused. "I'm also changing how I lead. No more unilateral decisions. No more shutting people out. Starting Monday, we're implementing an open-door policy. Anyone in the company can flag concerns directly to leadership." Marcus was quiet. Then, "What happened to you in Vermont?" "I remembered what matters, which is..." Madeline looked out at the city lights, thought about Jack and Lily, Thomas and Marcus, her mother's voice saying, "I'm proud of you." "People," she said. "People matter. Everything else is just noise." "That's a good answer, boss. Get some sleep, Marcus, and thank you for speaking up today. Thank you for listening." She hung up and sat in the quiet dark feeling something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Peace. Not the absence of problems. Not the control she'd been chasing. Just the simple knowledge that she didn't have to fight alone anymore. Her phone buzzed one more time. "Jack made it home safe. Lily wants to know if you like horses. She's planning our next conversation, apparently." Madeline smiled. "Madeline, tell her I love horses. And thank you again for everything. Jack, anytime." "Sleep well, Madeline," she did. For the first time in years, Madeline Pierce slept through the night without nightmares, without checking her phone, without planning tomorrow's battles. Because tomorrow wasn't a battle anymore. Tomorrow was just life, and she was finally ready to live it. 3 weeks after dinner in Brooklyn, Madeline's phone rang at 6 in the morning. Jack's name on the screen. Her heart kicked before she could stop it. "Jack, is everything okay?" "Lily's sick." His voice was tight, controlled. "High fever. The doctor says it's probably just flu, but she's asking for you." "For me?" "She's been talking about you nonstop since I mentioned we had dinner. Says you're the strong lady from the mountain." A pause. "I know this is weird, but would you want to come by just for a few minutes? She's scared and sometimes a distraction helps." Madeline was already reaching for her wheelchair. "Text me your address. I'll be there in 40 minutes. She made it in 35. Jack's house was small, tucked into a quiet Brooklyn neighborhood with overgrown hedges and a driveway that needed repaving. The front door opened before she could knock. Jack looked exhausted. Dark circles under his eyes hair, standing in 6 directions, still wearing yesterday's shirt. "Thank you for coming." He held the door wider. "She's upstairs, second door on the left." "How long has she been sick?" "Fever started last night around 11. Hit 103 by 3 a.m. I've been trying to keep it down with medicine, but she's miserable." Jack ran a hand through his hair. "I hate seeing her like this. After her mom, every time she gets sick, I panic." Madeline reached out, squeezed his hand. "She's going to be fine. Kids spike fevers. It's scary, but normal. I know. Doesn't make it easier. Lily's room was painted purple with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. The little girl was buried under blankets. Despite the fever, her dark hair plastered to her forehead with sweat. When she saw Madeline, her eyes went wide. You came. Of course I came. Your dad said you needed a visitor. I'm sick. Lily's voice was small. I hate being sick. I know, sweetheart. Being sick is the worst. Madeline rolled closer to the bed. But you know what? You're being really brave right now. I don't feel brave. I feel gross. Brave people feel gross all the time. They just keep going anyway. Lily studied her with those sharp 8-year-old eyes that missed nothing. Daddy says you're strong, that you got hurt really bad, but you didn't give up. Madeline glanced at Jack, who stood in the doorway looking apologetic. Your daddy talks too much. He said you run a whole company, that you're in charge of everything. I do run a company, but being in charge doesn't mean I have all the answers. What does it mean? Madeline thought about the last 3 weeks, the ethics committee meetings, the open-door policy changes, the terrifying, liberating experience of asking for help instead of demanding control. It means knowing when to ask for help, when to listen to people who know more than you, when to admit you're scared but do the hard thing anyway. Lily nodded slowly, like when I have to get shots. Exactly like that. I hate shots. Everyone hates shots, but you get them anyway because they keep you healthy. That's brave. Lily smiled slightly, then winced. My head hurts. I know. Want me to tell you a story while you rest? What kind of story? A true one. About the time I got stuck in a snowstorm and your dad saved my life. Lily's eyes lit up. Really? So Madeline told her. An edited version, obviously no mention of board meetings or corporate sabotage, just the story of getting lost in the mountains, the crash, the stranger who appeared through the snow, like magic. Jack listened from the doorway, and when Madeline got to the part about sharing the lodge room, he smiled that warm smile that made her chest feel strange. By the time she finished, Lily's eyes were drooping. The fever was still there, but she looked more peaceful. Miss Madeline, Lily's voice was sleepy. Can you come back when I'm not sick? I'd like that a lot. Promise. I promise. Lily fell asleep holding Madeline's hand. Jack gently extracted it, tucked his daughter in, and led Madeline back downstairs. In the kitchen, cluttered with dishes and homework papers, in a science project about volcanoes, Jack made coffee with shaking hands. I'm sorry for calling so early. She kept asking for you and I didn't know what else to do. Don't apologize. I'm glad you called. Jack turned. He leaned against the counter. You were good with her. Natural. I don't know anything about kids. You knew how to talk to her. That's the hard part. He rubbed his eyes. Her mom was the kid expert. I'm just figuring it out as I go. You're doing a good job, Jack. Some days I'm not sure. Some days I feel like I'm drowning and pretending I know how to swim. Madeline recognized that feeling, had lived it for 3 years. That's parenting. That's also running a company. That's also just being human. Jack laughed short and sharp. When did you get so wise? 3 weeks ago, in a Brooklyn restaurant, someone reminded me what matters. They looked at each other across the cluttered kitchen and something passed between them. Not just attraction, though, that was. They're humming under everything but recognition. 2 people who'd survived their own disasters and were learning how to live again. Jack's phone buzzed. He checked it and his face went pale. What's wrong? Text from my sister. She's at the hospital. Her husband had a heart attack. Oh God, Jack, I need to go, but Lily's sick and I can't leave her alone and my neighbor's out of town. He was already moving, grabbing his keys, panic rising in his voice. Go! Madeline's voice cut through his spiral. I'll stay with Lily. You can't, you have work. I'll handle work. Your sister needs you. Go! Jack stared at her. You do that? You carried me out of a crashed car and saved my company. I can watch your daughter for a few hours. Something broke in Jack's expression. Relief and gratitude and something deeper. Thank you, guide Madeline, thank you. He was out the door in 2 minutes, truck tires screeching as he pulled away. Madeline sat in the sudden silence of his kitchen and tried to process what she'd just agreed to. She'd never been alone with a child in her life, had no idea what to do if Lily woke up, had calls scheduled, meetings planned, a company that needed her attention. Her phone rang. Marcus. Morning, boss. Just confirming our 10 o'clock with the legal team. Cancel it. Cancel everything today. What, Madeline? We have the Sanderson contract review. You handle it. You're capable. I trust you. A pause. Are you okay? I'm fine. Something came up. A friend needs help. A friend? Marcus's tone shifted. The mechanic. His name is Jack, and yes. Okay, I'll handle today. But Madeline, this is good, you taking time for your life. It's really good. After he hung up, Madeline sat in Jack's kitchen and tried to remember the last time she'd canceled work for anything personal. The answer was never. Work came first. Always. But right now upstairs, an 8-year-old girl was sleeping off a fever and trusting that Madeline would be here when she woke up. And that mattered more than any contract review. Lily woke up 2 hours later. Madeline heard movement upstairs, went up to find the little girl standing in the hallway looking confused. Where's Daddy? He had to help your aunt. Something happened with your uncle, but he'll be back soon. I'm staying with you until then. Lily's lower lip trembled. Is Uncle Mike okay? Your dad will make sure everything's okay. That's what dads do. My mom used to say that. Lily's voice went small. She said Daddy fixes things. He does. He's very good at it. They went downstairs. Lily wanted soup, so Madeline found chicken noodle in the pantry and figured out how to heat it without burning the house down. They ate at the kitchen table, and Lily talked about school and her best friend Emma and how she wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up. Why a veterinarian? Madeline asked. Because animals can't tell you what's wrong. You have to figure it out by watching them, by listening even when they can't talk. Lily ate another spoonful of soup. Daddy says that's important, listening to what people don't say. Your dad's a smart man. He's sad sometimes. Late at night, I hear him in Mom's old office. He thinks I don't know, but I do. Madeline's throat tightened. Grief is like that. It comes back when you think you're doing okay. Do you get sad about your legs? The question was so direct, so innocent that Madeline almost laughed. Adults danced around the wheelchair. Kids just asked. Sometimes, mostly I get angry. At my body for not working the way it used to. At people for treating me different. At myself for caring what they think. That sounds hard. It is. But you know what helps? Having people who don't treat you different. Who just see you as you. Lily nodded like she understood. Like how Daddy sees you. Madeline felt her cheeks warm. Yeah, like that. They spent the afternoon doing Lily's homework math problems that made Madeline grateful for calculators and watching a movie about talking dogs that Lily found hilarious. By 3 o'clock, Lily's fever had broken and she was arguing about whether she could have ice cream for dinner. Nice try. Soup and crackers. But I feel better. Feeling better means soup worked. Keep eating soup. Lily grumbled but obeyed. And Madeline realized she was smiling, actually smiling, having fun. When had she last had fun? Jack came home at 4:30, exhausted but relieved. Mike's stable. They did emergency surgery. He's going to be okay. He saw Lily curled up on the couch, color back in her cheeks. And you look so much better. Miss Madeline made me soup and helped with math and said I can't have ice cream for dinner. Jack met Madeline's eyes. Miss Madeline is very wise. Miss Madeline needs to get home before her assistant calls the police, Madeline said. But she didn't move, didn't want to leave this house with its cluttered kitchen and purple bedroom and the feeling of being needed for something other than business decisions. Jack walked her to the door. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. I do. You dropped everything to help my daughter. That's, his voice roughened. That means everything to me. She's a great kid, Jack. You're doing an amazing job with her. She likes you. A lot. He hesitated. So do I. The words hung between them. Simple. Honest. Terrifying. I like you too, Madeline said quietly. Jack smiled. Good, because Lily's already planning our next visit. Something about teaching you to play Mario Kart. I have no idea what that is. Even better, she'll love being the expert. Madeline left feeling lighter than she had in years. Thomas was waiting with the car, and his expression said he knew something had shifted, but was too smart to ask. Back to the office, Miss Pierce. No, home. I'm done for the day. Thomas's eyebrows rose. It's 4:45. I know what time it is. She spent the evening on her balcony looking at the city and thinking about Lily's questions, about Jack's grief, about how she'd spent 3 years building walls and 3 weeks learning how to let people through them. Her mother called at 7. You canceled your meetings today. How did you trust here? Marcus called me. He was worried. I'm fine, Mom. A friend needed help. The mechanic. Not a question. You're spending time with him. Yes. Good. It's about time you let someone in. It's complicated. Feelings always are. Her mother paused. Your father would be proud of you. The way you're running the company, the way you're rebuilding your life, all of it. Madeline's eyes burned. Her father had died when she was 16. She'd spent 20 years trying to live up to his legacy, and hearing her mother say he'd be proud, it broke something loose in her chest. Thank you, Mom. Call me more often. Not just the monthly check-ins, real calls. I will, I promise. After hanging up, Madeline sat in the quiet dark and let herself feel everything. The grief for her father, the gratitude for Jack and Lily, the terror and excitement of opening her life to people who could hurt her. Her phone buzzed. Jack, Lily says you have to come back Friday. Non-negotiable. She's making dinner. Madeline, what's on the menu? Jack mac and cheese. From a box. With hot dogs cut up in it. Gourmet stuff. Madeline, I'll be there. Jack, fair, warning she's going to ask you a million questions. She's fascinated by you. Madeline, the feeling's mutual. Jack. Madeline. Yeah, Jack. I'm really glad I pulled you out of that ditch. Her hands shook as she typed. Madeline, me too. Friday came. Madeline left work at 4, another first, and drove to Jack's house. Lily met her at the door wearing an apron that said "Kiss the Cook" and covered in flour. We're making cookies too. Daddy said I could if I promised not to eat all the dough. Did you promise? Yes, but I didn't promise not to eat some of the dough. Jack appeared behind his daughter, also covered in flour. She's been vibrating with excitement since Wednesday, fair warning. Dinner was exactly as advertised. Mac and cheese with hot dogs. It was terrible and perfect. They ate at the kitchen table, and Lily told stories about school and asked Madeline questions about running a company and whether she'd ever met any famous people. I met the president once. Lily's eyes went huge. Which one? The current one, at a business summit. What did you talk about at tax policy? That sounds boring. It was very boring. Jack laughed. See, even rich people have boring meetings. I'm not rich, Madeline stopped, smiled. Okay, I'm rich, but the meetings are still boring. After dinner, Lily taught Madeline how to play Mario Kart. Madeline was terrible at it, kept driving off the track, getting hit by turtle shells, finishing in last place. Lily found this hilarious. You're worse than Daddy. Hey, Jack protested. I came in 7th last time. There are only 8 players. They played until Lily's bedtime at 8:30. Jack carried his daughter upstairs while Madeline waited in the living room, and she could hear them through the ceiling. Jack's low voice reading a story. Lily's questions interrupting every other sentence, the comfortable rhythm of a father and daughter who'd learned to be everything to each other. When Jack came back down, he looked exhausted and content. She's out, finally. He sat on the couch beside Madeline, not too close but not distant either. Thanks for coming. This meant a lot to her. It meant a lot to me, too. Really, mac and cheese and Mario Kart? Really? Madeline turned to face him. I can't remember the last time I did something just for fun. No business agenda, no networking, no strategy. Just fun. That's sad, Madeline. I know, I'm working on it. Jack's hand found hers on the couch. Their fingers intertwined slowly, carefully, like neither of them wanted to push too fast. Can I ask you something? Jack said. And you can tell me if I'm overstepping. Ask. The accident. What happened? Madeline had spent 3 years deflecting that question, changing the subject, building walls. But sitting here in Jack's living room, his hand warm in hers, she found she wanted to tell him. Drunk driver. Hit me head on 5th Avenue. I was in a taxi heading home from a meeting. Her voice stayed steady, clinical. Severed my spinal cord at T4. Doctor said I'd never walk again. They were right. How long was recovery? 6 months in hospitals and rehab. Another year learning how to live in a body that didn't work the way it used to. She looked down at their joined hands. The physical part was hard, but the mental part, that almost killed me. What do you mean? People looked at me differently, treated me like I was fragile, made assumptions about what I could and couldn't do. And the worst part, I believed them for a while. I let the wheelchair define me instead of just being something I use. Jack squeezed her hand. What changed? I got angry, decided that if people were going to underestimate me, I'd prove them wrong. I threw myself into the company, worked 18-hour days, built Pierce Industries back up from near bankruptcy to what it is now. She smiled bitterly. And somewhere along the way, I stopped living. I just worked, because work was the one place where I could still feel powerful. Until 3 weeks ago, until you carried me out of a ditch and reminded me that asking for help doesn't make you weak. Jack was quiet for a long moment. Then my wife used to say something. She'd say, strength isn't about never falling down. It's about who you let help you back up. She sounds like she was an incredible person. She was, but she's gone. And I spent 2 years being angry about that. Angry at the universe for taking her, angry at myself for not saving her, angry at Lily for needing me when I could barely function. His voice cracked. It took me a long time to realize that grief doesn't mean you stop living. It means you learn to live with a hole in your heart that never really closes. Madeline understood that. The hole in her heart wasn't from death, but from loss. The loss of who she used to be, the loss of the future she'd imagined, the loss of feeling whole. How do you do it? She asked. How do you keep going when part of you is missing? You find new things to fight for, new reasons to get up in the morning. For me, it's Lily. She needs me to be okay, so I learned how to be okay, or at least how to pretend until it became real. And now, Jack turned to look at her, really look at her. Now I'm learning that okay isn't enough. I want to be happy again. And I think he hesitated. I think you might be part of that. Madeline's breath caught. Jack, I know it's fast. I know we barely know each other, but something about you. He shook his head. From the moment I saw you in that SUV, refusing to be scared, even though you had every reason to be, I knew you were someone special. I was terrified. You didn't show it. You were strong even when you were falling apart. His voice roughened. That's the kind of strength that I want Lily to see. The kind of strength I want in my life. Madeline's heart hammered. This was it. The moment where she could run, rebuild her walls, go back to being safe and alone. Or she could take the risk. Let someone in. Choose vulnerability over control. I'm not good at this, she said quietly. At relationships, at letting people close. I'm going to mess this up. So am I. We'll mess it up together. I work too much. I'm stubborn. I have trust issues and control problems and... Jack kissed her. It was soft, gentle. Nothing like the dramatic movie kisses where everything suddenly made sense. It was just two broken people choosing to be broken together, and somehow that made it perfect. When they pulled apart, Madeline was crying. Sorry, she whispered. I don't cry. I never cry. You just did. I know. It's terrifying. Jack smiled, wiped her tears with his thumb. Welcome to being human, Madeline Pierce. It's scary as hell, but the view's pretty good. They sat together on the couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her waist, and neither of them said anything. They didn't need to. Sometimes silence said more than words ever could. At 10, Madeline's phone buzzed. Sarah, her assistant. Emergency. Sanderson contract fell through. They're backing out of the deal. Marcus needs you to call. 3 weeks ago, Madeline would have left immediately. Would have spent all night fixing the problems, sacrificing sleep and sanity to save the deal. Tonight, she texted back, tell Marcus to handle it. I trust his judgment. I'll review in the morning, Jack noticed. Everything okay? Work crisis, but Marcus can handle it. You sure? No, but I'm learning that not everything needs me to fix it. She looked up at him. And right now, I'd rather be here. Jack kissed her forehead. That's growth. That's terrifying. Same thing. They talked until midnight about everything, about nothing, about Lily's school and Madeline's company and Jack's shop in the mountains and grief and hope and the strange, unlikely way their lives had crashed together. When Madeline finally left Thomas waiting patiently in the car, Jack walked her out and kissed her again, slower this time, like he was memorizing the feeling. "See you tomorrow," he asked. "Tomorrow's Saturday. I have a board meeting. Cancel it." "I can't just, Madeline, cancel it. Spend Saturday with me and Lily. We're going to the park. Very boring, very normal, very not about billion-dollar companies." She should say no, should put work first, should maintain the boundaries that had kept her safe for 3 years. Instead, she said, "What time?" Jack's smile could have lit up the whole street. 10. "Bring comfortable clothes. We're teaching you how to have fun." "I know how to have fun. When's the last time you proved it?" Madeline couldn't answer. Jack kissed her one more time and watched her drive away. On the ride home, Thomas finally broke his silence. "He seems like a good man, Ms. Pierce." "He is. You seem happy." "I am, I think. Is that allowed?" Thomas smiled at her in the rearview mirror. "It's required, ma'am. Everyone deserves happiness. Even workaholic CEOs." That night, lying in bed, Madeline stared at the ceiling and tried to process everything that had happened in 3 weeks. She'd gone from isolated and angry to somehow having people in her life who cared about her for reasons that had nothing to do with her company. It was terrifying. It was also the best thing that had ever happened to her. Her phone buzzed one more time. "Jack, Lily wants to know if you like swings. Apparently that's crucial information for tomorrow." Madeline smiled in the dark. "Madeline, I haven't been on a swing in 20 years, but I'm willing to try, Jack. That's all anyone can ask. Sleep well, Madeline." She did. And for the second time in 3 weeks, she didn't dream about the accident. She dreamed about a purple bedroom and Mario Kart, and the feeling of Jack's hand warm in hers, proving that life after loss wasn't just possible, it was waiting for her to be brave enough to reach for it. Saturday morning arrived with rain. Heavy, relentless rain that turned the streets into rivers and made Madeline's phone explode with weather alerts. She stared out her apartment window at the storm and wondered if Jack would cancel. Her phone rang at 9:30. "So the park's probably flooded," Jack said. "But Lily has a backup plan. Fair warning, it involves finger painting and possibly ruining your clothes." "I'll risk it." "You sure?" She gets very serious about art. "Last time we painted, I found purple handprints on the ceiling for a week." Madeline laughed. "I'm sure. What time should I come?" "Whenever you want. We're not going anywhere in this weather." She arrived at 10:15. Lily opened the door wearing an oversized art smock and carrying a paintbrush like a sword. "You came even in the rain." "Of course I came. I promised, didn't I?" "Lots of people promise and then don't come." Lily's voice went quiet. "After Mom died, lots of people said they'd visit, and then they didn't." Madeline's chest tightened. "I'm not lots of people. When I promise something, I mean it." Lily studied her face, then nodded. "Okay, come on." Daddy cleared the whole kitchen table for painting. The kitchen was indeed cleared, covered in newspaper with paint bottles and paper and brushes scattered everywhere. Jack stood at the stove making hot chocolate, his hair damp from the rain, wearing jeans and an old flannel shirt that made him look younger somehow. "Morning," he said, and the way he smiled made Madeline forget how to breathe for a second. "Morning?" "Hot chocolate," Lily insists, "it's required for rainy day painting." "With marshmallows," Lily added. "That's the rule." They painted for 2 hours. Lily showed Madeline how to blend colors, how to make trees that didn't look like green blobs, how to sign your name in the corner like real artists do. Jack painted stick figures that made Lily dissolve into giggles. "Daddy, that's terrible." "That's a horse. That's not a horse. Horses don't have 6 legs." "This one does. It's a special horse." Madeline found herself laughing harder than she had in years. The kind of laughing that hurt your stomach and made your eyes water, and felt like medicine for a soul that had forgotten how. At noon, Lily declared they needed to make lunch together. She assigned roles like a tiny General Jack on sandwich duty, Madeline on chips and fruit, Lily supervising everything with the seriousness of a Michelin inspector. "More peanut butter, Daddy." "Miss Madeline, those apple slices are too big. Cut them smaller." "Yes, ma'am," Madeline said, hiding her smile. They ate at the kitchen table, still covered in paint newspapers, and Lily talked about her science project on butterflies and how Emma from school said butterflies could remember being caterpillars, but Lily didn't think that was true. "Why not?" Madeline asked. "Because if I turned into a butterfly, I wouldn't remember being me. I'd be too busy being excited about flying. Jack met Madeline's eyes across the table. Something passed between them. Understanding warmth, the feeling of being exactly where you were supposed to be. After lunch, Lily wanted to show Madeline her room. The purple walls were covered in drawings and photos and a map of the world with pins marking places she wanted to visit someday. That's Paris, Lily pointed, and that's Tokyo, and that's the Amazon rainforest. Daddy says when I'm older, we'll go together. Those are beautiful places. Where have you been? Paris, Tokyo, London, Dubai, Sydney? Madeline stopped. A lot of places, but always for work. I never really saw them. What do you mean? I mean, I stayed in hotels and went to meetings and flew home. I didn't explore, didn't have adventures, just worked. Lily frowned. That's sad. You should go back, for real this time. Maybe I will. Take Daddy with you. He's never been anywhere except Vermont and here. Madeline's throat felt tight. Would you want that, your dad going away? Lily was quiet for a moment, then nodded. If he was happy, he's sad a lot. He thinks I don't notice, but I do. Since Mom died, he's only happy when he's fixing things or playing with me. But with you, she looked up with those two wise 8-year-old eyes. With you, he smiles different. Real smiles. The kind Mom used to give him. Madeline didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know how to tell this little girl that her father made Madeline smile, real smiles too, for the first time in 3 years. Your dad is pretty great, she managed. I know. That's why I want him to be happy. Lily grabbed Madeline's hand. You make him happy. Don't mess it up, okay? Despite everything, Madeline laughed. I'll try my best. They went back downstairs. Jack was cleaning up the painting supplies, and when he saw them, he smiled that real smile Lily had mentioned. So verdict, did the rainy day painting live up to expectations? It exceeded them, Madeline said honestly. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. It buzzed again. And again, Jack noticed. You need to get that. No, it's just work. Madeline, if it's important, it's always important. That's the problem. But she checked anyway, and her stomach dropped. 15 missed calls, 20 texts, all from Marcus, Sarah, and various board members. The latest text from Marcus, call me now. Emergency. I need to make a call, she said quietly. I'm sorry. Jack nodded. Take your time. I'll keep Lily busy. Madeline rolled into the living room and called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Where have you been? I've been trying to reach you for an hour. What happened? The Sanderson deal didn't just fall through. They're suing us, claiming breach of contract damages the works. Their lawyer served papers this morning. This is bad, Madeline, really bad. Her mind raced. The Sanderson deal had been months in the making. A partnership that would have expanded Pierce Industries into the Asian markets. If they were suing for breach of contract, what's their claim? They're saying we failed to disclose material information during negotiations, that we misrepresented our financial position. That's insane. We disclosed everything. They have emails, Madeline. Someone from our company sent them false projections, made it look like we were in better financial shape than we are. Ice flooded her veins. Who? We don't know yet. Legal's investigating. But whoever it was, they made it look like it came from your office. From my office, Marcus, I know you didn't, but the emails have your signature, your authorization codes. Someone set you up. Madeline's hands shook. David's gone. We fired him weeks ago. He still has allies on the board. Someone's helping him. She closed her eyes, thinking fast. Get legal on the phone. I want every email traced, every access log checked. Someone in our company committed fraud, and I want to know who. Already on it. But Madeline, this is going to hit the news cycle by Monday. The press will be all over this. Your reputation. I don't care about my reputation. I care about finding whoever did this and making sure they never work again. What should I tell the board? Emergency meeting, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I'll be there. She hung up and sat in the silence, rain hammering against the windows, her perfect Saturday dissolving into crisis management and damage control. Jack appeared in the doorway. Everything okay? No, I have to go. There's a situation at work that... She stopped, looked at him. At the concern in his eyes, the understanding, the complete lack of judgment. Someone's trying to destroy my company. and they're using me to do it. Jack sat down on the couch beside her. Tell me. So she did. All of it. The Sanderson deal, the lawsuit, the forged emails, David's likely involvement. Jack listened without interrupting, and when she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. What do you need? I need to fix this. I need to... That's not what I asked. What do you need right now from me? Madeline's eyes burned. Nobody had asked her that in years. What she needed versus what she had to do. I need to not feel alone, she whispered. Jack pulled her against his chest, his arms solid and warm around her. You're not alone. Not anymore. They sat like that for several minutes, rain falling outside, and Madeline let herself be held. Let herself be vulnerable. Let herself need someone. When she finally pulled back, her resolve had solidified into steel. I have to go. I'm sorry. I wanted today to be... It's okay. We'll have other days. Will we? Because it feels like every time I try to have a life outside work, something explodes. Then we'll figure out how to handle the explosions together. Jack squeezed her hand. Go. Do what you need to do. But Madeline, don't let whoever's doing this make you forget what matters. She kissed him, quick and hard and desperate, then went to say goodbye to Lily, who clung to her and made her promise to come back soon. I promise, Madeline said, and meant it with everything in her. Thomas drove her straight to the office. By the time she arrived, it was 2 p.m., and the building was mostly empty except for Marcus and the legal team gathered in the conference room. Show me everything, she said. They spread it out. Email sent from her office computer using her login credentials containing false financial projections that made Pierce Industries look more profitable than it was. Dates ranging back 3 months. Dozens of communications, all carefully constructed to make the Sanderson deal attractive and then catastrophically damaging when the truth came out. This is sophisticated, Madeline said, studying the documents. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. The IT team's tracing the access logs, Marcus said. But here's the thing, all these emails were sent during times when you were in the office, when your computer was active. Meaning someone was watching my schedule, knew when I'd be at my desk. Madeline's mind raced. Who has access to my office? Sarah, Thomas, cleaning staff. But they're all vetted. Check them anyway. Check everyone. I don't care how long they've worked here or how much we trust them. Someone committed fraud using my identity, and I want them found. They worked through the afternoon and into the evening, combing through logs, checking security footage, interviewing staff. By 9 p.m., they had a lead. Look at this. Marcus pulled up a video. 3 months ago, 2 a.m., someone enters your office using a maintenance access card. The footage was grainy, but Madeline could make out a figure, average height, wearing a maintenance uniform and cap that hid their face. Who was scheduled for maintenance that night? Nobody. That floor wasn't scheduled for cleaning until Thursday. So someone stole or faked a maintenance card, accessed my office, and used my computer. Madeline leaned closer to the screen. Can we enhance this, see their face? It's working on it. Should have results by morning. Madeline sat back, exhaustion pulling at her. Who hates me enough to do this? David's the obvious answer, but he's not stupid enough to do it himself. He'd hire someone, pay them enough to take the risk. She looked at Marcus, pulled David's financial records, bank statements, credit card transactions, everything. Look for unusual payments in the last 6 months. That's going to take a warrant. We don't have probable cause. Then get creative. I don't care how you do it, just find the connection. Marcus nodded and left. Madeline sat alone in the conference room, staring at the forged emails, and felt rage and fear and determination burn through her in equal measure. Her phone buzzed. Jack. How's it going? Madeline's still here? Probably will be all night. Jack want company. I can bring coffee. She almost said no. Almost pushed him away like she'd pushed everyone away for 3 years. But then she thought about Lily's question. Don't mess it up, okay? And realized asking for help wasn't messing it up. It was the only way to not mess it up. Madeline, yes, please. He arrived at 10 with coffee and sandwiches and a bag of cookies Lily had insisted he bring. When he walked into the conference room, Madeline felt something in her chest unclench. You came. You asked. Of course I came. Jack set the food down, then pulled a chair beside her. What can I do? Just sit with me. That's enough. So he did. While Madeline worked through documents and made calls and coordinated with legal, Jack sat beside her, not hovering, not trying to fix everything, just being present. Occasionally, he'd hand her coffee or point out when she'd been staring at the same page for 10 minutes, or remind her to eat. At midnight, Marcus came back with news. We traced the maintenance card. It was reported stolen 6 months ago from a contracted cleaning company. Which company? Service Pro. They've been cleaning this building for 8 years. Get me their employee records. Cross-reference with anyone who might have connections to David Cross. Already on it, but Madeline... Marcus hesitated. The enhanced security footage came back. We got a face. He pulled up the image on the screen. Madeline's blood went cold. It was Robert Chen, Marcus's younger brother. The silence in the room was absolute. Marcus stared at the screen, face draining of color. That's not, he wouldn't, his voice broke. My brother wouldn't do this. When's the last time you talked to him? Madeline asked quietly. 6 months ago. We had a fight. He asked me for money to cover gambling debts. I said no. Marcus sat down hard. Oh God, David must have found out. Offered to pay his debts in exchange for destroying me. Madeline felt sick. Marcus, I'm sorry. I know this is... Don't apologize. My brother committed fraud. He needs to face consequences. But Marcus's hands were shaking. I need to call him before he finds out we know. Marcus, if you warn him... I'm not warning him. I'm giving him a chance to turn himself in before this gets worse. Marcus looked at her with desperate eyes. Please, he's my brother. He's an idiot and he made a terrible choice, but he's still my brother. Madeline thought about Lily, about Jack, about the people you loved even when they disappointed you. Make the call, but if he runs, I'm calling the police. Marcus dialed with shaking hands. The conversation was short, sharp, devastating. Robert denied everything at first, then broke down, admitted it all. David had paid him $50,000 and promised more. Had told him Madeline would never find out. Had made it seem easy. Turn yourself in, Marcus said into the phone. Tonight, I'll come with you. But Robert, you have to make this right. When he hung up, Marcus looked 10 years older. He's meeting me at the police station in an hour. He'll confess to everything. I'm sorry, Madeline said. I'm the one who should apologize. My brother nearly destroyed your company. Your brother made a choice. That's not on you. She paused. But Marcus, I need you to step back from the ethics committee. Until this is resolved, the conflict of interest. I understand I'll resign from the committee. And if you want me to leave the company, I don't. You didn't do anything wrong. Your brother did. But I need to make sure the board sees we're handling this properly. Marcus nodded close to tears. Thank you for trusting me even after. You've earned that trust. Your brother's actions don't change that. After Marcus left to meet Robert at the police station, Madeline sat in the conference room and tried to process everything. The fraud, the betrayal, the fact that David Cross had reached far enough to corrupt Marcus's brother just to hurt her. This isn't over, she said to Jack. David's still out there, still pulling strings. Then we deal with him too. Jack met her eyes. You think I'm going anywhere after everything, Madeline? I'm in this. Whatever this is, I'm in it. She felt tears threaten. I don't know why you'd want to be. My life is a disaster. My company's being sued. Someone close to me just committed fraud. I'm a mess. You're not a mess. You're someone fighting battles on 12 different fronts and still showing up for the people you care about. Jack pulled her chair closer to his. And for the record, I like messy. Perfect is boring. Messy is real. This is more than messy. This is catastrophic. Then we'll handle catastrophic together. Madeline leaned her forehead against his shoulder and let herself believe him. Let herself trust that maybe, possibly, she didn't have to fight alone anymore. Her phone rang at 1 a.m. Unknown number, she answered. Madeline Pierce. You're persistent. I'll give you that. David Cross's voice was smooth, smug, infuriating. But you're also predictable. You really thought taking down Robert Chen would stop this? How did you? I have eyes everywhere, Madeline. In your company, on your board. You can fire me, expose me, ruin my reputation, but I'm not done with you yet. What do you want, David? I want you to suffer the way you made me suffer. I want Pierce Industries to crumble, and I want you to know that every move you make, I'm 3 steps ahead. You're pathetic. Using someone's gambling addiction to commit fraud? I'm practical. Robert needed money. I needed access. We both got what we wanted until he got caught. Robert was expendable, just like you're about to be. David's voice turned cold. The Sanderson lawsuit is just the beginning. I have 3 other companies ready to file suit. I have documents that will make you look incompetent, reckless, mentally unstable. By the time I'm done, you'll be begging the board to remove you. You're bluffing. Check your email. I just sent you a preview. Madeline pulled up her email. There it was, a document labeled Evidence of Madeline Pierce's Mental Unfitness to Lead. Inside were doctor's notes from after her accident therapy sessions, medication prescriptions. All confidential, all illegally obtained. Her hands started shaking. How did you get these? I told you, I have eyes everywhere. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to resign quietly. Cite health reasons, walk away, and I'll make all this disappear. Go to hell. Wrong answer. David hung up. Madeline stared at the phone, rage and fear warring in her chest. He had her medical records, her therapy notes, documents that painted her as unstable, emotional, unfit to lead. If he released them publicly, hey. Jack's hand on her shoulder. What happened? She showed him the documents, watched his face go hard. He can't use these. They're protected by doctor-patient confidentiality. It's illegal. That won't stop him. He'll leak them anonymously, damage my reputation before anyone can prove where they came from. Madeline felt sick. He's going to destroy everything I've built. No, he's not. Jack's voice was steel. Because we're going to tie you out back, not just legally, publicly. You're going to tell your story first on your terms before he can twist it. Tell my story. Go public. All of it. The accident. The recovery. What you've overcome to run this company. Make it impossible for him to use your strength against you. I can't. People will see me as human, as someone who survived something terrible and became stronger because of it. Jack leaned closer. Madeline, your story isn't a weakness. It's your greatest strength. Don't let him make you ashamed of it. She stared at him, heart pounding. Going public meant vulnerability, meant opening herself up to judgment, pity, all the things she'd been avoiding for 3 years. But it also meant taking control of the narrative, showing the world who she really was instead of letting David define her. I need to think about this. Think fast, because if he releases those documents first, I know. Madeline took a shaky breath. I know. They worked through the rest of the night. By dawn, they had a plan. Madeline would hold a press conference Monday morning. She'd tell her story, the accident, the recovery, the fight to rebuild her life and her company. She'd address the lawsuit head on, explain that someone had committed fraud using her identity, and announce Robert Chen's confession. And she'd make it clear that anyone who tried to use her disability as a weapon would face the full force of Pierce Industries' legal team. At 6 a.m., exhausted and wired on coffee, Madeline called Marcus. How did it go with Robert? He confessed to everything, gave up David's name. The DA's building a case for conspiracy to commit fraud. Marcus sounded exhausted too. But Madeline, David's already gone. Left the country last night. Private jet to Singapore. Of course he did. We'll get him eventually, but right now we need to focus on damage control. Already on it. Press conference Monday. I'm going public with everything. A pause. Everything. Everything, the accident, the recovery, what I've overcome. I'm not hiding anymore, Marcus. If David wants to use my story against me, I'm telling it first. That's brave. Really brave. It's terrifying, but Jack thinks. She stopped. A friend thinks it's the right move. Marcus's tone shifted, warming. This friend, the mechanic, he's good for you. Yeah, he is. After hanging up, Madeline sat at her desk and watched the sun rise over Manhattan. Jack had fallen asleep on the conference room couch, and seeing him there, this man who'd crashed into her life and refused to let her face it alone, made something in her chest feel full for the first time in years. Her phone buzzed. Lily, Daddy forgot his phone. Is he with you? I miss him. Madeline smiled. Madeline, he's here. He'll be home soon. Miss you too. Lily, good. Tell him I saved him a cookie, and tell him you're coming for dinner again. I'm making spaghetti. Madeline, I'll be there. Because she would be. No matter what happened with the company, the lawsuit, David's threats, she'd be there for dinner with Jack and Lily, because that's what mattered now. Not the empire she'd built, not the reputation that she'd protected. The people who saw her as more than a CEO in a wheelchair. The people who made her want to be brave enough to live again. Jack stirred on the couch, opened his eyes, saw her watching. Morning, did we solve everything? Not even close, but we have a plan. Good enough. He sat up stretched. What do you need from me today? Go home. Spend time with Lily. She misses you. What about you? I have a press conference to prepare, a company to save, a board meeting to survive. She rolled over to him. But tonight, dinner at your place. Lily's making spaghetti. Jack smiled. She told you that, huh? Apparently it's non-negotiable. With Lily, everything's non-negotiable. He cupped her face. You're going to be okay. You know that. Ask me again after Monday. I will, and the answer will be the same. He kissed her gentle and certain, and Madeline chose to believe him. Because belief was a choice now, and she was choosing to believe that maybe finally she was strong enough to be vulnerable and powerful enough to ask for help, and brave enough to build a life that wasn't just about survival. Monday morning arrived cold and clear. Madeline sat in her office at 7 a.m., staring at the speech she'd written and rewritten a dozen times. The press conference was scheduled for 10. 3 hours to decide if she was brave enough to do this. Her phone buzzed. Jack, you're going to be amazing. Lily and I are watching from home. She made you a good luck bracelet but forgot to give it to you. Sending photo. The image showed a bracelet made of plastic beads spelling out strong lady. Madeline's eyes burned. She texted back, tell her I'm wearing it in spirit. And thank you for believing I can do this. Jack, I don't believe you can. I know you can. There's a difference. At 8:30, Marcus arrived with the legal team. They reviewed the statement one final time, making sure every word was legally sound while still being honest. This is good, Marcus said. Really good. But Madeline, once you say this, there's no taking it back. The whole world will know. I know, that's the point. Some people will use it against you. Say you're playing the victim card. Say you're unstable. Let them. I'm done hiding who I am to make other people comfortable. Sarah knocked on the door. Ms. Pierce, the press is here. Camera crews, reporters, everyone. It's packed. Madeline's hands started shaking. She gripped the armrest to steady them. Marcus noticed. You don't have to do this. We can find another way. No, this is the right move. She took a breath. I'm terrified. That means it matters. At 9:50, they moved to the main conference room. Madeline could hear voices through the door, cameras being set up, reporters arguing over positions. Her heart hammered so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Ready? Marcus asked. No, but let's do it anyway. The doors opened. A wall of light hit her camera flashes. Video lights, the focused attention of 40 people, all turning to look at once. Madeline rolled to the podium, positioned herself, and looked out at the sea of faces. For 3 seconds, her mind went blank. Completely blank. All the words she'd rehearsed vanished. Then she saw Thomas standing at the back of the room. He gave her a small nod. Just that. And something in her steadied. Good morning. My name is Madeline Pierce, and I'm the CEO of Pierce Industries. I'm here today to address recent allegations against my company and to tell you something I should have shared a long time ago. She paused. The room was silent except for the click of cameras. 3 years ago, I was in a car accident that severed my spinal cord and left me paralyzed from the waist down. The recovery was brutal. The adjustment was harder. But the hardest part was learning to accept that my body had changed while my mind, my drive, and my ability to lead this company remained intact. A reporter's hand shot up. Madeline ignored it. Last week, someone attempted to frame me for corporate fraud. They forged emails using my credentials, manipulated financial data, and tried to make it look like I was unfit to run this company. Their goal was to use my disability as a weapon to suggest that my accident made me mentally unstable, emotionally compromised, unable to make sound business decisions. More hands went up. Madeline kept talking. They were wrong. The person responsible has confessed and is cooperating with authorities. The fraud charges against Pierce Industries are false and will be proven false. but I want to address something bigger than this specific case. She gripped the podium, leaning forward. For 3 years, I've hidden parts of my story because I was afraid people would see my wheelchair and assume I was weak. I was afraid they'd doubt my competence, question my decisions, treat me like I was broken. And you know what? Some people did exactly that. Some people looked at me and saw limitation instead of strength. The room was absolutely silent now. But I'm done being afraid of their judgment. I'm done hiding the fact that I rebuilt myself from the ground up after my body betrayed me. I'm done pretending that surviving trauma makes you weak when it's actually the most powerful thing a person can do. Her voice strengthened. I run a billion-dollar company. I employ 3,000 people. I've navigated hostile takeovers, market crashes, and attempts at corporate sabotage. And I did all of that from a wheelchair. Not despite the wheelchair, not in spite of it. The wheelchair is just how I move. It doesn't define my capability any more than your shoes define yours. A reporter called out, "Ms. Pierce, are you saying the fraud allegations are completely false?" "I'm saying someone committed fraud and tried to frame me for it. That person has been caught and will face consequences. Pierce Industries has always operated with integrity, and that hasn't changed. But the Sanderson lawsuit is based on false information planted by the person who's now in police custody. Sanderson Holdings was given falsified financial data. We have evidence proving this, and we're confident the lawsuit will be dismissed." Another reporter, "What about David Cross? Reports say he's fled the country." David Cross conspired to commit fraud against this company. Law enforcement is pursuing him, and he will face justice. But I'm not here to talk about David Cross. I'm here to talk about something more important. She looked directly into the cameras. If you're someone who survived trauma, physical, mental, emotional, and you're afraid that trauma defines you, I want you to hear this. It doesn't. You get to define yourself. You get to decide what your story means. And anyone who tries to use your pain as a weapon against you is telling you more about their character than yours. Madeline paused, gathering herself for the final part. "I've spent 3 years building walls so high that nobody could hurt me. But those same walls kept out the people who wanted to help me. This last month, I learned something crucial. Asking for help isn't weakness. Letting people in isn't vulnerability. It's the bravest thing you can do. Because real strength isn't the armor you wear so nobody can touch you. Real strength is knowing what still matters and fighting for it without losing yourself in the process." The room erupted with questions, but Madeline raised her hand. "That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time." She turned to leave, and the reporters surged forward, shouting questions, but Marcus and Thomas formed a barrier, getting her through the crowd and back to her office. Inside, with the door closed, Madeline started shaking. Not from fear this time, from release, from the overwhelming feeling of having finally told the truth. Marcus was grinning. "That was incredible. Seriously, Madeline, that was..." Her phone exploded with notifications. Texts, emails, calls, flooding in faster than she could process. Sarah's voice came through the intercom. "Ms. Pierce, I have 17 interview requests already. The New York Times, Wall Street Journal, CNN. Not now, Sarah. Hold all calls." Madeline scrolled through the messages. Most were supportive, some were cruel. A few were from board members expressing concern, code for disapproval. But then she saw one from an unknown number that took guts, respect. J.R. Reuters, and another, "My sister has EMS. Thank you for saying what she's been too afraid to say." Anonymous. And another, "I'm a CEO with type 1 diabetes. I hide my insulin pump in meetings because I'm afraid people will think I'm weak. Your speech just changed that. Thank you." Tears spilled down her cheeks before she could stop them. Marcus quietly left the room, giving her space, and Madeline sat at her desk and cried, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming relief of finally being honest. Her phone rang. "Jack." "I saw it," he said, voice rough. "The whole thing. Madeline, that was, I don't even have words. Was it okay? Did I say too much? You said exactly what needed to be said. And for the record, Lily's telling everyone at school that her friend is the bravest person in the world." Madeline laughed through her tears. "I'm not brave, I'm terrified. That's what brave is, being terrified and doing it anyway." A pause. "Are you okay, really?" "I don't know yet. Ask me in a few hours." I will. And Madeline, I'm proud of you. So damn proud. After they hung up, Madeline tried to focus on work, but her mind wouldn't settle. The press conference had been step one. Now came the harder part, waiting to see how the world responded. By noon, the response was overwhelming. The video had gone viral, 3 million views and climbing. Social media exploded with reactions, some supportive, some hateful, most somewhere in between. But then something unexpected happened. At 1 p.m., the Sanderson Holdings CEO called personally. "Ms. Pierce, I just watched your press conference. We need to talk." Madeline braced herself. "I understand you have concerns about the lawsuit." "We're dropping it." She froze. "What?" "Our legal team reviewed the evidence your lawyer sent over. The financial data we received was clearly falsified. We were manipulated, and we apologize for not investigating more thoroughly before filing suit." He paused. "Your speech today was remarkable. The courage it took to be that honest, that's the kind of leadership we want to partner with, not sue." "I thank you. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll consider resuming partnership negotiations. On honest terms this time." After he hung up, Madeline sat in stunned silence. Marcus burst through the door. "Did Sanderson just call you? They're dropping the lawsuit, and they want to resume partnership talks." Marcus whooped, actually whooped. "That's incredible, Madeline. Do you know what this means?" "It means we survived. It means you didn't just survive. You won." But Madeline didn't feel like she'd won. She felt exhausted, wrung out like she'd just run a marathon with no finish line in sight. Her phone buzzed again, this time a text from her mother I just watched. "Your father would be so proud, I know I am. Call me when you can. Love you." The tears came back harder this time. Her mother, who'd been overprotective and overbearing and terrified of losing her daughter again, was proud, was letting go, was trusting Madeline to live her own life. At 3 p.m., the board called an emergency meeting. Madeline's stomach dropped. This was it, the moment when they'd tell her the press conference was too much, too personal, too damaging to the company's reputation. She rolled into the boardroom expecting a fight. Instead, she found the 12 remaining board members standing, applauding. Madeline froze. "What?" "That was the most honest leadership I've seen in 30 years, Gerald Thompson said. He was the oldest board member, the one who'd been most skeptical of her after the accident. "You didn't just defend yourself today. You defended every person in this company who's ever felt like they had to hide their humanity to be taken seriously." Martha Singh, another board member, nodded. "The stock price jumped 4% after your speech. Customer service is flooded with supportive emails. You turned a potential disaster into a defining moment for this company." Marcus pulled up a chart. "Investor confidence is up. 3 new partnership inquiries came in this afternoon, and get this, 5 major publications want to feature you on their covers." Madeline couldn't process it. "I don't understand. You thought we'd see vulnerability as weakness," Gerald said gently. "But what we saw was a CEO strong enough to be honest. That's rare, Madeline. Precious. Don't lose it." The meeting continued, but Madeline barely heard it. Her mind was reeling. She'd spent 3 years terrified that honesty would destroy her, and instead it had saved her. At 6 p.m., she finally left the office. Thomas drove her to Jack's house in silence, respecting her need to think. When she arrived, Lily threw the door open before Madeline could knock. "You were on TV. Everyone at school saw Emma's mom said you were inspiring." Jack appeared behind her, and the look on his face, pride and warmth and something deeper, made Madeline's chest ache. "Come in," he said softly. "Dinner's almost ready." They ate spaghetti at the cluttered kitchen table. Lily talked nonstop about school and how she'd told everyone that Miss Madeline was her friend, and how her teacher said people who tell the truth are heroes. "Are you a hero?" Lily asked seriously. "No, sweetheart. I'm just someone who got tired of lying." "Lying about what?" "About being scared, about needing help, about not being perfect." Lily considered this. "Nobody's perfect. That's what Daddy says." "Your daddy's very smart." After Lily went to bed, Jack and Madeline sat on the couch, and he pulled her close. "How are you really doing?" "I don't know. It feels surreal, like I just jumped off a cliff and somehow landed safely." "You didn't land safely. You flew." Jack kissed her temple. "What you did today, that took more courage than anything I've ever seen." "I was so scared. I'm still scared. Of what? Of this, of us, of letting myself be happy when everything could still fall apart. Jack was quiet for a moment. Then, my wife told me something before she died. She said fear is just love that hasn't found its voice yet. You're not scared of being happy. You're scared of losing it. Aren't you? Every day. But I decided loving Lily is worth the fear of losing her, and I'm deciding you're worth that fear too. Madeline's breath caught. Jack, I'm not asking you to say it back. I'm not asking for promises or commitments or anything you're not ready to give. I'm just telling you that I'm all in. Whatever happens with your company, your life, your future, I want to be part of it. She turned to face him. You don't know what you're signing up for. My life is chaos. It's always going to be chaos. Good, I like chaos. It's more interesting than perfect. I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to work too much and forget to call and prioritize the wrong things. Then we'll fight about it and figure it out and keep going. That's what people do, Madeline. They mess up and they fix it and they choose each other anyway. She kissed him, hard and desperate and full of all the things she couldn't say yet. Jack kissed her back like he understood, like he could wait, like he wasn't going anywhere. When they pulled apart, Madeline whispered, I'm not ready to say I love you yet. I know, but I'm getting there, Archie. I can feel it, and that terrifies me. Good, that means it's real. They sat together in the quiet dark, and Madeline let herself feel it, the fear and the hope tangled together, impossible to separate. She'd spent 3 years trying to control everything, and now she was learning that maybe the point wasn't control. Maybe the point was choosing who to be vulnerable with and trusting them not to break you. Her phone buzzed. She almost ignored it, but something made her check. It was an email from David Cross. You think you won. You think that little speech saved you. But this isn't over. I'm coming back, and when I do, I'll take everything from you, your company, your reputation, the people you love. Watch your back, Madeline. Ice flooded her veins. Jack noticed immediately. What's wrong? She showed him the email. His jaw tightened. He's bluffing. He's in Singapore with law enforcement looking for him. He can't touch you. He already did. He got my medical records. He corrupted Marcus's brother. He destroyed the Sanderson deal. What's stopping him from... Her voice broke. What's stopping him from hurting you or Lily to get to me? Jack's expression went hard. He won't, because if he tries, he'll have to go through me first. This isn't your fight. The hell it isn't. You're part of my life now. That makes it my fight. Madeline forwarded the email to Marcus with a note to contact the FBI. Then she called her head of security and had them increase monitoring on her, building her office, and after a long hesitation, Jack's house. I'm putting you in danger, she said quietly. No, David Cross is putting me in danger. There's a difference. Jack pulled her closer. And for the record, I'm not going anywhere. Neither is Lily. You're not getting rid of us that easily. Despite everything, Madeline smiled. You're stubborn. So are you. We're well matched. They stayed up until midnight, making plans, calling lawyers, coordinating with security. By the time exhaustion finally caught up with them, they'd established protocols, alerted authorities, and made sure everyone Madeline cared about knew to be careful. But as she lay in bed that night alone in her apartment for the first time in days, Madeline couldn't shake the feeling that something worse was coming. David Cross wasn't done. And next time he wouldn't aim for her company. He'd aim for her heart. Tuesday morning brought news that felt like vindication and warning all at once. The FBI had issued a warrant for David Cross's arrest on conspiracy and fraud charges. Interpol was involved. He couldn't hide forever. But he also couldn't be stopped from sending more threats. At 10 a.m., Marcus burst into Madeline's office. We have a problem. A big one. What now? 3 board members just resigned. Gerald Thompson, Martha Singh, and Paul Rodriguez. All at once. No explanation beyond personal reasons. Madeline's stomach dropped. David got to them. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't have proof yet. Find it. I don't care what it takes. If David's paying off board members to destabilize his company, I want evidence. While Marcus investigated, Madeline called an emergency meeting with the remaining board members. 9 people showed up, and the tension in the room was palpable. I'll be direct, Madeline said. David Cross is attempting to destroy this company by any means necessary. If any of you have been contacted by him or his representatives, I need to know now. Silence, long and uncomfortable. Finally, Jennifer Watson spoke up. He called me last week, offered me a position at his new venture capital firm for triple my current salary. I said no. Anyone else? 3 more hands went up. All had been approached, all had refused. But the ones who resigned, Jennifer continued, I heard they were offered 7-figure buyouts. David's building a war chest to take you down, Madeline, and he's using your own board to do it. The meeting continued for 2 hours. They discussed options, strategies, ways to shore up the company's defenses. But the underlying truth was clear. David Cross was playing a long game, and he had resources Madeline couldn't match. At noon, Jack called. I'm picking Lily up from school early today, taking her to my sister's for a few days. Madeline's blood went cold. Why, Diana? Someone was parked outside her school this morning, just sitting there. Could be nothing. Could be something. I'm not taking chances. Oh God, Jack, I'm so sorry. Stop. This isn't your fault, but I'm getting her somewhere safe until the FBI catches David. Where are you going? Better if you don't know. That way, if he asks, you can't tell him. The logic made sense, but it didn't stop Madeline's heart from breaking. How long? As long as it takes. A few days, maybe a week. His voice softened. I'm not leaving you, Madeline. I'm protecting my daughter. There's a difference. I know, and you're doing the right thing, but I hate this. I hate that he's making you run. I'm not running. I'm strategizing. When this is over, we'll come back, and David will be in prison where he belongs. After he hung up, Madeline sat in her office and felt the weight of every decision she'd ever made pressing down on her chest. She'd gone public with her story to take control of the narrative, and instead she'd painted a target on everyone she loved. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Nice speech yesterday. Too bad it won't matter when everyone you care about disappears, starting with the mechanic and his kid. D. Madeline's hand shook so hard she nearly dropped the phone. She forwarded the message to the FBI to her head of security, DeMarcus. Then she called Jack. He just threatened Lily specifically. Jack's voice went cold. Forwarding to FBI now. We're already on the road. Don't worry. How can I not worry? Because worrying doesn't change anything. Fighting does. So keep fighting, Madeline. That's what you're good at. The afternoon blurred into a nightmare of conference calls with FBI agents, security consultants, and lawyers. David's threats were serious enough to warrant protection, but vague enough that they couldn't prove imminent danger. The legal system moved slowly. David moved fast. At 5 p.m., Madeline's mother called. I saw the news about David Cross. Are you safe? I have security. I'm fine. That's not what I asked. Madeline closed her eyes. No, Mom, I'm not safe, and I don't know when I will be. Then come home. Stay with me until this is over. I can't run from this. It's not running, it's surviving. Your father would tell you the same thing. Dad would tell me to fight. Your father would tell you that no company is worth your life. Come home, Madeline, please. The plea in her mother's voice almost broke her. But Madeline had spent 3 years rebuilding this company, and she wasn't going to let David take it now. I can't, Mom, but I promise I'm being careful. After she hung up, Thomas knocked on her door. Ms. Pierce, your security detail is recommending you stay at a hotel tonight, somewhere David doesn't know about. I'm not hiding. You're also not a martyr. Please, let us do our jobs. So Madeline spent Tuesday night in a corporate hotel under the fake name, surrounded by security guards, feeling like a prisoner in her own life. She couldn't sleep, couldn't stop checking her phone for news from Jack, from the FBI, from anyone who might tell her this nightmare was over. At 2 a.m., her phone rang. FBI agent Rodriguez. Ms. Pierce, we have an update. David Cross was spotted in Toronto. Canadian authorities are coordinating with us. We believe we'll have him in custody within 48 hours. You believe or you know. Nothing's certain in these situations, but we're close. He threatened a child, an 8-year-old girl. How close is close enough? I understand your frustration. Because my life is falling apart while you're coordinating across jurisdictions. Agent Rodriguez's voice hardened. We're doing everything legally possible, Ms. Pierce. But if you'd rather handle this yourself, I'm sorry, I'm scared. I know, we all are, but we will get him. I promise you that. Wednesday dawned gray and cold. Madeline went to work because staying in the hotel room alone was driving her insane. Marcus met her at the door with news. The 3 board members who resigned, they all deposited large sums into their accounts the day before. 7 figures, like Jennifer said. We have bank records. That's bribery. That's illegal. It's also hard to prove without their cooperation. And they're not talking. Then make them talk, offer immunity, whatever it takes. By Wednesday afternoon, the story had leaked. Media outlets were reporting on David Cross's campaign to destroy Pierce Industries from abroad. Stock prices dropped. Investors panicked. Customers questioned whether to continue partnerships with a company under siege. Madeline held another press conference. David Cross is a criminal who's using intimidation and bribery to attack this company because I exposed his fraud. We're cooperating fully with law enforcement, and we have complete confidence he'll be brought to justice. In the meantime, Pierce Industries continues to operate with integrity and transparency. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down, and we will emerge from this stronger than before. The speech was broadcast live. Within an hour, support poured in from unexpected places. Competitors issued statements condemning David's tactics. Industry leaders called to offer assistance. Employees organized rallies supporting Madeline's leadership. At 6 p.m., Jack called. I saw the speech. You're incredible. I'm exhausted. You're both. How are you holding up? Barely. How's Lily? She's safe, asking about you constantly, wants to know when she can see you again. When this is over, tell her, Madeline's voice broke, tell her I miss her, and I'm sorry she has to hide because of me, Krimis. She doesn't blame you, neither do I. This is on David, not you. It feels like it's on me. Then you're feeling wrong. Let me carry some of this, Madeline. You don't have to fight alone. I don't know how to let you. Start small. Tell me one true thing, something you're feeling right now that you'd normally hide. Madeline took a shaky breath. I'm terrified that even if we win, I've lost you. That this is too much chaos for anyone to want to deal with. That you'll realize I'm not worth the trouble. Now tell me one true thing I'm feeling, Jackson said quietly. I don't know. I'm falling in love with you. Have been since the moment you told me to stop treating you like you were fragile. And nothing David Cross does will change that. Madeline couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Couldn't process that in the middle of the worst week of her life, someone was choosing her anyway. You don't have to say anything back, Jack continued. Just know that when this is over, I'm not going anywhere. Neither is Lily. We're in this, for real. Jack, get some sleep, Madeline. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. He hung up before she could respond, leaving her sitting in her hotel room with tears streaming down her face and something that felt dangerously close to hope blooming in her chest. Thursday morning brought the breakthrough they'd been waiting for. Agent Rodriguez called at 7 a.m. We have him. Canadian authorities arrested David Cross in Toronto last night. He's being extradited to the U.S. It's over, Ms. Pierce. Madeline sat down hard. It's really over. The criminal part is, you'll still have civil litigation board issues to resolve reputation management, but the active threat is neutralized. After hanging up, Madeline sat in silence for 5 full minutes. Then she called Jack. They got him. David's in custody. Jack's relief was audible. Thank God, we're coming home. When Puem, today, this afternoon, Lily's been counting down the hours. So have I. By noon, the news was everywhere. David Cross arrested on fraud and conspiracy charges. Pierce Industries vindicated. Madeline Pierce hailed as a CEO who'd faced down corruption and won. But Madeline didn't feel like she'd won. She felt wrung out, exhausted, like she'd survived a war, but couldn't quite believe the shooting had stopped. At 5 p.m., there was a knock on her office door. Jack and Lily walked in. Lily ran to her, throwing her arms around Madeline's neck. We're back. We're back, and Daddy says we're safe now. Madeline held the little girl and felt something break open in her chest. I'm so glad. I missed you so much. I missed you too, and I made you something while we were hiding. Lily pulled out a drawing, a picture of 3 stick figures holding hands. That's me, that's Daddy, and that's you. We're a team. Madeline looked at Jack over Lily's head. He was watching them with an expression she couldn't quite read. A team, Madeline repeated. I like that. After Lily went to explore the office, Jack pulled Madeline close. You okay? Getting there. Are you better now? He kissed her forehead. What happens next? Next, I rebuild again. Fix the board, restore investor confidence, prove that Pierce Industries is stronger than one man's vendetta. And after that, Madeline looked up at him. After that, I learned how to have a life outside this office. With you and Lily, if you still want that. Jack smiled. I told you I was all in. I meant it. Even knowing my life is complicated and messy and probably always will be, especially knowing that. They stood together in her office, and Madeline felt something settle in her chest. Not peace exactly. Life was still complicated, still full of challenges and fears and uncertainties, but something close to it, something that felt like home. 2 weeks later, Madeline stood on a stage at the annual Pierce Industries company meeting. 3,000 employees filled the auditorium, and this time she wasn't afraid. Strength isn't the armor you wear so no one can hurt you, she said, her voice steady and clear. Strength is knowing what still matters and fighting for it, without losing yourself in the process. It's asking for help when you need it. It's being honest even when it's terrifying. It's choosing vulnerability over control and trusting that the people who matter will catch you when you fall. She paused, looking out at the sea of faces. This company survived because we chose honesty over image, because we fought for integrity when it would have been easier to compromise, because we remembered that business isn't just about profit, it's about people. The people who work here, the people we serve, the people who believe in what we're building together. The applause started small, then built until the whole room was standing, and Madeline felt tears prick her eyes. After the meeting, Jack and Lily were waiting outside. You were amazing, Jack said. Can we get ice cream now? Lily asked. You promised if I sat still the whole time. Madeline laughed. Ice cream sounds perfect. They walked out into the spring sunshine together, and for the first time in 3 years, Madeline Pierce felt like she was finally living instead of just surviving. Her phone buzzed one last time. Her mother. That speech. Dad would have been so proud. I know I am. Love you. Madeline looked at Jack, at Lily, skipping ahead of them, at the city, stretching out in front of them, full of possibility. I'm happy, she said, surprised by how true it was. Jack squeezed her hand. Good, you deserve to be. And in that moment, surrounded by the people who'd chosen to love her through chaos and fear, and all her complicated imperfections, Madeline Pierce finally understood what real power looked like. Not control, not armor, not walls built so high nobody could reach her, but the courage to be honest, the strength to ask for help, and the radical act of letting people in even when it scared her to death.